Good morning, I guess it is here where I'm at, probably afternoon by the time you guys get this. But this is Business Finance, or BFIN322. I hope you're in the right place, or that I've sent this to the right people. I'm going to do hopefully a relatively short introductory video. I may do later videos today or tomorrow that would, or even next week, that would maybe go over chapters 1 and 2. Frankly, those are kind of reviews of accounting. I don't think your assignments are real major. We certainly don't get into a lot of the quantitative stuff yet. And it's when we get to the quantitative stuff that I think that these videos that I'll do will be far more important, where I actually show you how to do the various assignments and whatnot that we have for this class. So in any event, here's our D2L home page, and my computer is being really balky, and I think that anytime I get this anytime I get this BB Express going, it tends to slow down everything else, and so I'm hoping, or BB Flashback, whatever it is, I'm hoping that I can get it going here. It's being really balky. Anyhow, D2L, everything's kind of set up on D2L. I've got all of the chapters set up through what's my notes say? I think I've done through chapter 11, so don't get any further ahead than chapter 11 at this point in time. I'll probably forget to get things caught up after that, so about the time we get to spring break, you guys will probably have to remind me to go and change drop boxes or something like that. So for the first two chapters, like I said, when you get to those, they're kind of reviews. There's a quiz. They're open book. You know, get your book out. That's what it's designed to do, is kind of read through it, you know, answer the questions, take your time. I don't think there's a time limit, you know, and so you can take time and do it. Look up the answers. Make sure you do well on those. That would be great. Okay, we do have a syllabus that we ought to take a look at and kind of take a peek at our grading and whatnot that we'll be doing here. As we move along into chapter 3, then you'll find that there's a quiz and an assignment for each chapter, and the quiz will typically be, or my goal was to try to make the quiz more of the terminology and those types of things that you can, again, go ahead and look up in the book, whereas your assignments are going to turn into the quantitative stuff that we do in business finance. So kind of be prepared for that, and like I said, my videos in the future will be primarily focusing on doing those quantitative things. I'll actually open up Excel. That's typically what we'll use. I think I've put on there that you can also get a calculator, and I'll show you some things on the calculator as we go along. But Excel does so much of this stuff for us, and it's really not a bad format to use. And so I'll open Excel and I'll just walk through problems that are very similar to the problems that you guys will have for your assignments. And so hopefully you'll be able to follow along and do the assignments and get those dropped into the Dropbox. There will be, as the syllabus is taking its time opening up, there will be 2 projects for this class. And the first project is taking a look at the basic financial statements that you might use. You know, and it differs from person to person, or accountant to accountant, or bank to bank, or whoever might be preparing these or looking at them. But these are ones that you might use. I think I got all these from SCORE. They're templates from SCORE, the Service Corps of Retired Executives, that they kind of recommend if you're going through the startup of a business, right? If you're thinking about doing a new venture of some sort. And so we're going to do those in a basic format. And one thing, we won't start that. We'll get started on that about week 3. When we'll kind of get going, maybe even next week, I'll give you some ideas. But for now, you can be thinking about a business that you might like to do do for that project. My biggest piece of advice for that is choose something that is very simple, very simple. There's nothing wrong with doing a lawn mowing business or something easy. Okay, I just want you to understand, the basics of those financial statements and how they interact. There'll be a couple of requirements. For example, even if you do something really simple and it wouldn't cost you much to get into it, I'm going to require that you have some kind of a loan. Okay, I don't care if the loan's for $500. We'll just put that in and plug it in. Again, the idea is it doesn't matter if it's $500 loan or a $500,000 loan. The principle is the same, and making sure that we know where the numbers go and how we get to them and whatnot is kind of the key thing behind that. So be thinking of a business, be thinking of a simple business that you would like to do for Project 1. Project 2, on the other hand, is going to be a little more research into a publicly traded company. So we'll kind of get into that as we go along in the text and work on these problems and whatnot. We'll talk a little bit about publicly traded companies, and we'll have you guys do a paper, be a 5-page paper at the end, and where you're going to discuss the financials, primarily the financials of the particular company that you've chosen. So no sense thinking about that now, or you certainly can if you want to, but thinking about the type or the business itself that you might choose. So here we go again. You do need, I don't know if I have that in there, but you're going to have access to Excel. Okay, we'll use Excel almost entirely from week 2 on in this class. I'll be showing you examples of Excel problems and whatnot, and I think perhaps the last chapter we get back away from that. So I think first week and last week maybe you get away from using Excel, and then other than that we're going to be using it a ton. So please make sure you have access to that. I would say that you can also go to through the bookstore here on campus, and there's a special deal with Microsoft, so you can get the whole Office suite. I think it's for like $20. So if you don't have the Office suite, please, spend the $20 and get it. You won't get a better deal. I think if you buy it out in the real world, you're going to pay a couple $100 for it, but you can get it through the bookstore for, I'm sure it's 20 or some real ridiculously low price because it's associated with the campus. So grading, pretty simple here, right? Quizzes, assignments, maybe discussions. I don't really have any discussions planned at this point in time, but we could, depending on how things go. But certainly you'll do the quizzes and assignments. Okay, that's going to account for 40% of your grade. No tests. Okay, these quizzes and assignments will keep you busy enough. And besides that, we're doing these projects. So Project 1 and Project 2 will each count for 30% of your grade. That's the main thing on here on the syllabus. You can read through all the other stuff, which is pretty similar to what you'll see in most of our business syllabi. So that'll get you going there. Now, hopefully I can get that out of the way. And again, I apologize for how slow everything is. This BB flashback takes up a lot of whatever they call that, CRB or something, whatever usage that is. So Project 1, the templates and whatnot, great. We'll go through these, of course, when we get started on Project 1, and that's going to be a week or so down the line. Project 2, again, we'll go through those the second half. So really what you want to do is get down here to week 1 and week 2. You'll see I put everything due, the first 2 of them due on the 18th. I mean, really, I'd like you to get week 1 done or chapter 1 done this week and chapter 2 done next week, but especially in a distance fashion. I understand that sometimes that's kind of difficult, get your book and do all the stuff that you need to do. So we'll just make both of those due on the 18th, which is a Sunday. Typically all your assignments and quizzes should be due on Sunday. That's my intent, unless I screwed up, which is really common for me to do. They'll be due on the Sunday following when I discuss it in a video format here. So go through those. Again, I've got, I think, everything pretty well in shape through about chapter 11, somewhere around there. So quite a ways, until we get to spring break anyhow. what do the assignments look like, or what do the quizzes look like? They should be D2L quizzes, so you'll be able to click on them. I'm not sure for my version. I think it takes me to an edit version as opposed to actually taking the test. I don't think you want to click on it unless you're ready. So you might want to at least peruse the chapter first, and then click on it and be ready to take the quiz at that point in time, because I'm not sure that you can quit and get back out and then go back into it. I think they're all set up for just one attempt, so make sure you're ready. But again, go ahead, have your textbook. It is open book. All the quizzes should be open book, and take your time. I don't think there's any hurry on those. Look up the answers, make sure you get the right answers. That's exactly my intent for those, so please do it in that fashion. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, so it takes me to where I could edit it. So 25 questions. So the first quiz is fairly long, but it shouldn't be. The answers should all be in the text, so it shouldn't be all that difficult, I wouldn't think. So those should, I hope, automatically grade. I think it might give you the grade. I don't think it gives you the correct answers afterwards. So if you have a particular question or something, you can let me know, but hopefully I'll cover it a little bit as I go through the stuff anyhow for Chapter 1 and Chapter 2. The rest of the chapters, you probably have to go back and look it up in the textbook itself, because again, that'll be mostly terminology and those types of things as we go along. And the assignments were going to be more of the problems. So we won't have any discussions unless you guys want some discussions. In terms of the project, could you team up? Yeah, maybe. I wouldn't mind small teams, 2, maybe 3 at the max. That might be okay. It's not a huge class, and so I don't know that I would necessarily encourage you to team up, but if you really want to team up, if you think that might help, yeah. And if that's the case, I'd probably encourage you to pick something that is maybe just a little bit more complicated. I'll make you work a little bit harder if you get to that point. So other than that, what else do I need to go over? I don't think that there should be too much. Feel free to, you can't hurt, you can take a look at any of those that you would like to. The textbook, I didn't talk about the textbook, but the textbook is Foundations of Financial Management, and the main author, or the lead author, is Block. It's Block, Hurt, and Danielson. Certainly you can get that from the bookstore. You can probably order it online. It's a fairly new textbook. I'm sorry, it's going to cost you some bucks. For those of you that get it from the bookstore, it's my intent that I'll be using it again next fall, so they probably will buy it back from you at the end of the semester if it's not something that you want to keep. And that'll be kind of up to you as we go through the stuff, maybe depending on what type of business that you get into, or what type of job that you take when you get out. So, okay, so be thinking about, I've got their Business 1 selection. That's going to be due the 18th. So be thinking about the type of business that you want to do. If you got questions about it, send me an email, give me a call, whatever. Say that you're thinking about doing this. How's that sound? That type of thing. Probably the only thing I would discourage is anything that's too complex for this particular project. I really don't want to see things that are horrendously complex. We can keep it relatively simple. I'll probably send out a video on Chapter 1, maybe later today or maybe tomorrow. That's for Chapter 1 and Chapter 2, I'll tell you, kind of optional. You might be able to go through and do the quizzes just fine without looking at the video. It'd be kind of up to you. I'll probably just go through some of the stuff that would be in Chapter 1 and Chapter 2. When we get to Chapter 3 and we start getting into more quantitative things, that's what I'll be spending the time on, doing the videos. And for most of you, that might be helpful, so you may want to do that. Watch the videos in that case. Some of you might be able to do the work on your own. That's fine. I'll let you guys kind of decide that. But I think the feedback in the past has been that the videos for the quantitative part are usually pretty helpful. A lot of folks tell me that they'll bring the video up and then they'll have their Excel deal right next to it, because I'll be working problems that are very similar to yours, and you can just have them both going at the same time, and you know, do one problem, you can go back and look at the video if you want to help you out, and work through that and move on to the next problem. So I don't have anything else, I don't think, that I need to say at this point in time for the introduction. If you have any questions, give me a holler. And if not, I'll talk to you next week. I'll probably do chapter 1 this week, and I'll do a chapter 2 next week, and let me know if you have any problems. See if I can get this thing shut off now. You guys might have to listen to me for a little bit here. There it is. So, okay.